Hi, this is Damon Pistolka, host of The Faces of Business, where I talk with interesting people, sharing life and business experiences to entertain, engage, build community, and provide information to help others succeed. If you're interested in learning more about one of our guests or how we are helping business owners generate wealth and build businesses they can sell or succeed at Exit Your Way, you can find more information on our website, exityourway.com, or by contacting me directly, Damon at exityourway.com. I hope you enjoy the show. Everyone, welcome once again to the Faces of Business. I'm your host, Damon Pistolka, and we have a special episode here today. We're going to be talking about marketing and business for sale with none other, my partner in crime, Andrew Cross. Welcome, Andrew.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Well, we are going to just get right into it. I mean, because we market businesses for sale once in a while.
Yeah. The secret sauce.
The secret sauce. And it's been something you've been doing for quite some time.
Sell them every once in a while.
Yeah, I sell them once in a while too. Yeah. A little bit better than the average.
Yeah.
The averages aren't good. But the real thing that I wanted to talk about today, because when we talk about marketing a business for sale, it's not just throwing a listing up on a site. And I'm going to get behind the curtain a little bit and talk more about it. Mm-hmm. So let's go back a ways. When you started this 10 plus years ago, doing the business brokerage and selling businesses, what was the real way that people got businesses out to buyers?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, the way we do it nowadays, it's certainly changed a lot. But back in the old days, it was advertising, putting an ad in the paper, in the classifieds.
That hurts. That feels so old.
It does. I mean, and this is even during the internet times, because this is an industry that's just slow to change. Trade magazines might, that'd be, but you'd have an advertising budget, but it was definitely an old school kind of brick and mortar type of way of running things. Run the ads and wait for the phone to ring. And you hope, but, private equity buyers have changed a lot since then too. They've become more sophisticated. But here's the real trick, marketing a business for sale too is, this is a confidential process. There is a process for it, but, people want to sell their businesses, but, nobody wants anybody else to know about that.
Yeah.
And for good reasons, confidentiality. So how do you do that? And that's a real challenge. You have to be able to, market and sell the opportunity, but not necessarily the business, because you just don't see, if people don't put for sale signs in the window of their business.
Yeah.
That is a recipe for disaster, as we all know. And there's good reasons why that is.
Yeah.
To handle it that way. So how do you buy something, sell something if you can't tell anybody about it?
Yeah. That's a great point. How do you sell something if you can't tell anybody about it in specific? And it is a real thing that we deal with in the industry. So let's talk about, let's back up just a minute though. In a lot of people that are selling their business or having someone sell their business for them may not understand the importance of taking the time at the beginning to develop really good materials around the business. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a bit about that, because you've seen people do it with virtually no preparation or a lot of preparation. And what is the real benefit from taking the time to create the right information for your business before you start marketing it?
Yeah, well, it's critical. It's absolutely critical. I mean, I don't think you really, it's not something you can do off the cuff. And a lot of people come to me, because they never thought about selling their business, but they got a call from somebody, probably one of their competitors. And I want to sell, I'd like to buy your business. They don't know what they're buying. They don't have any idea, because, it's all confidential. So, and those people can be good buyers, but oftentimes then our phone rings because it's, somebody wanted to buy my business, but I don't know what it's worth. I don't know if I'm ready to sell. You know, I don't know if he's offering me the right amount. It's all the unknown, right? And that's part of that's the negative of a confidential process is nobody's talking about these things. It doesn't have to be public. This isn't the stock market, where, you have to disclose everything, and you don't. And so you have to get behind that and educate a lot so that, knowledge is power, and that will get your business sold. And that's where you're doing the homework and doing the marketing materials and the prep work to sell your business. You're selling not your product or your service that you do, you're selling your business. So different customer.
Yeah.
And, it has to be marketed to in a completely different way. You might have the coolest widget in the world that you sell. Buyer cares about that, but doesn't care about that.
Yeah.
Fees and benefits, all that, that's all good. Differentiation, that's all good. Cost, that's all good. They want to know about that, but they're looking at it from a completely different angle. So it's not about your product or service. It is about the business, the revenue stream, the risks involved, the lifestyle of the buyer, and the fit, professional fit, and the background and experience that they have to own and make that whole transaction successful.
Yeah. You said this a little while ago, and I want to bring it up because a lot of people don't understand the fact that marketing your business for sale and how that starts with identifying your ideal buyer is so important, because you kind of skipped over it. It's not like selling your product, but in selling your product, you must understand your ideal buyer, just like for your business.
Sure.
And that is critical when you're doing that, because then as you're preparing the marketing materials, you understand the kinds of questions that buyer needs to answer.
Yes. And again, there are, understanding the buyers, the types of buyers there are, ones that fit into your industry space and expertise, because, 80% of them, people who do venture out and say, I'm going to go buy a business, 80% of them never accomplish that task. So there's a lot of people, for various reasons, a lot of people who are just looking, and will waste a lot of time. And also you'll be giving out confidential information to the wrong people. So the screening process is important. And then the marketing, the approach to marketing the business is very targeted then. So it goes beyond just putting an ad in the paper. Yeah, we still do that. We don't do it in the paper anymore. We put, it's all, there's listing sites and there's all on the internet now, but, we can advertise the opportunity for sale. And now, and we can be more strategic about it using social media to find these types of buyers. And, so what is it? What kind of buyer are you looking for? And then understanding what it is that they're looking for. And that's how you present your material, your marketing, your pitch, your offering, your opportunity. Well, there's a million terms for what that is, because you're going to get about 20 minutes attention from these buyers to convince them that, that it shows not just here's a financial projection and this is why you should buy me, but also shows a vision, how you do good, what it is that you differentiate you in the industry, what your customers look like, how repeatable is this, all the risk things that they're thinking about in their head, and then of course the financial analysis. And we always put that in the material in the back.
Yeah.
That just has to meet a threshold. It's really basic about that. So you're going to know what park you're in based on that, because if the numbers don't make sense, then it won't work.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said a couple things in that as well too. It's, understanding that buyer or the different kinds of buyers that are going to be seeing it, and then their distinct value propositions for each one of those kinds of buyers, and making sure that's in your materials and prominent. As you said, financials go to the back. That kind of value proposition for that buyer is right near the front, so they can understand quickly how this is going to help them achieve their goals.
Yeah. The financial part just supports everything else that you've done at the bottom. So it's got to meet, like I said, it's just got to meet a certain threshold in order to do that. And then the rest of the beginning part of it, all the layup into the reasons into that is convinces them to buy.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we look at selling a business today, well, let's back up just one more time for material, because you've shown this distinctly and really effectively when we're talking about this with clients who want to rush the process of creating the material or going to market with a business. And go to the market with the business today, but then before you've got the materials that are ready for the business. And I know a lot of people will be tempted to do that, but why don't you want to do that? Go to market before you've got your materials done.
Yeah. I mean, these buyers, the market, too, is fairly limited. And that all depends on the buyer and what the restrictions are. I mean, there's definitely, so if you go out to market, so for example, if you have an owner operated business, and you're tied to a certain geographic location, this affects value, of course, in the business too. But, your buying pool is going to be somebody within commuting distance. Possibly somebody could move from out of state and actually make a move to come in and buy your business, and specifically for that. But what I'm saying is, that limits your buyer pool. And if you go in there unprepared, and they only look once, once it's no, it's no. So you're gonna dry up those opportunities, and you don't get, there's no second chance on it to come back. Now look at it this way. And, we thought about that. Like I said, you get about 20 minutes usually at that first initial pitch. If you can't hook them, they make their decision and they move on.
That is one of the points I did want to bring up, is that because I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, we can finish an ad, whatever that looks like, and then we can get out and start selling it. And well, if you do that and you're not ready right behind, and you go, my best buyer could be found in the first 5 minutes when I look, and if they want the materials and those materials aren't right, you might be done.
Yeah. You don't get second chances on that, and it's very hard. And that's also with pricing, if and you got to really think about pricing and where you go to market with the pricing. Because timing is very important. That's the most important aspect of marketing a business for sale. It's a campaign, and we might have various stages of launching a business and campaigning it for sale, and and advertising is, that part of it is trolling, that's fishing deep, and you just let that run. But the targeted outreach, using social media, doing some industry research on finding good strategic buyers, and communicating, basically the campaign is to go directly to them and give them a chance to look at the opportunity. You want to do that. The timing part of it is because after you've prepared all the materials and you're ready to go, market, that's going to be a good month right there of that first initial campaign. And the objective to that is to get 4 or 5 good qualified buyers who are interested in the opportunity, who are considering presenting a letter of intent. And then our process, that's the objective, is to get through that. So the timing part of it, what makes that important is that provides sort of an auction type atmosphere. Hey, we have this opportunity for sale. They all know we just brought it on the market. They all know we've got 300 or 400 people looking at it. They all know that bids are going to be submitted. That's the auction part, right? Which can drive up value a bit. I think, that's one of when you're marketing a business, that's one of the claims that advisors and brokers will make, that they can, they do that in real estate too. It's that game. Yeah, you're going to get more value if you go out and price it low and, you get it bid up. Well, it doesn't really work that way. Like I said, there's constraints involved, but what it will do is it does get a deal done.
Yeah.
And people, the buyers will understand if there is that feel that auction environment. It's an informal auction. I wouldn't call it. We're not putting a gavel down and taking bids, but they know they aren't the only game in town that. So that will sometimes it'll get a little bump in value. But more importantly, it gets somebody to a good qualified buyer to give a letter of intent and get into diligence and go to closing, and it keeps the pressure on them for closing too, because they know that there's people behind them.
Yeah, if they back out, it's not just you take your time. It's that by doing that marketing and trying to hit a lot of the right people, targeting in on the right buyers is key, and because you do keep the pressure on everyone to keep moving forward.
Yeah, and it's and that can be difficult too. It depends on the kind of business it is and the size of the businesses. Because in the type of buyer you have, financial buyers are investor buyers. There's strategic buyers who are competitors or people who are already in the business. Those are typically the best buyers. But if it's a smaller company and a smaller deal, they don't do a lot of buying. Whereas financial buyers buy, all the time. So you have to do a fair bit of. You have to, again, it's risk, reduction, and strategic buyers may not know what they don't know. So they see risk when it's not there. The financial buyers are more comfortable in just going and, they do this all the time. So they already know the risk. And then of course, the smaller businesses or individual buyers and search fund buyers where, for search fund buyers are backed by financial equity groups and stuff like that, or investment groups. And individual buyers are just, high net worth or, can family funds, and they can do stuff like that themselves. But, and those work out pretty well too, because you have a management team that's looking to come in and replace it. So if you're in that situation, it's harder to sell a business if ownership or the management of the company is leaving with it. So it's harder only because there's a smaller pool of buyers available.
Yeah. Yep. You're making some good points here with the different kinds of buyers. And that's where I think that taking some time at the beginning to really understand the perfect buyer for your individual business based on size, based on industry, based on a lot of different factors. Sounds like that can really pay off by allowing you to market to people that are more likely to buy.
Yeah. And, it's, but you have to kind of appreciate the situation where we're going in with an opportunity to spend, $5, $6, $7 million on an acquisition. And you're going to a good strategic customer down the road. Maybe he's already got a $25 million but they don't, they're not publicly traded companies. So that's a pretty good outlay for them. So you have to really kind of help them how that works, how that really benefits their value of their company. And then of course, how do you fund it? And that kind of stuff. And, it's one of the best ways to understand why a strategic buyer is one of the best buyers is because you just go ask a banker who's going to put a loan out. They would much rather lend. They do a lot less risk if they've got somebody who's already in the industry and successful at it. So,
that's for sure. Yeah. That's for sure. So as you're looking at, selling a business today compared to years ago, do you see that the tools, the resources available now, do you think it makes it easier to sell a business today or more difficult because of so many different options and ways to do it?
Yes.
Yes. I love that. Love that.
It is easier today. There's a lot more capital. There's people looking to put their capital in this. So the market's larger, and the information, what's killed deals before is, again, this lack of information, and that creates fear. Fear, kills deals. And that's why we do this. We want to say, okay, yeah, these are privately held. These are confidential transactions. You can't go down to the county and see the tax, records and all that kind of stuff, and the transactions, that are there. But we do have data from that too. And the more, with the internet and everything else that's gone on, there's much more data available, and resources available to a buyer today than ever before. So that's a positive. But on the negative side is that it's also more competitive than it's ever been to buy a business. So, if you're, and that's, if you're going in and you're competing with, some of these groups, and they have cheaper capital and they can fund these things and that kind of stuff. But
so this is something that came up while I was sitting here to listen to talk about this, and it's easier today. We've got more cash in the market today, but it doesn't seem like there's more businesses getting sold today as a percentage.
It's still not easy.
Yeah. That's just it. And it's like, you think about it and you go, the tools have gotten better. We can get it out to more people, but yet we still come into the fundamental problem of finding the right buyer for a business is still the toughest part about it.
Yeah. And through that process of marketing the business for sale, that's all theoretical. That's what we try to do, is, launch it, do a campaign, get 4 or 5 good qualified buyers, get an auction environment, get a solid offer, give exclusivity, and go down to the finish line, close it. That doesn't always happen that way. And, it has happened, and that's great when it works, but it doesn't always. And a lot of times we get through that first campaign, we don't get there. Then we drop a line and we do some trolling, on the advertising, and it is weird, so it's why it takes a long time to sell a business. So you have to be ready to do that too. So things may go along, and it is, you get a strike, like I said, it is deep sea trolling, and somebody just, it crosses their path at some point and they didn't see it before. And, they just want to get this deal done. So, and it's hard to predict when that'll happen. But that's, one of the things too. And we talked a little bit about test marketing. We do a campaign, we may deliberately reduce that to kind of a preliminary warm opening, and bring out the business to market to a select group of buyers. We do have, in addition to our outreach to go and find and research that we do on buyers, we talk to buyers every day. So we have our own network and database of buyers that we talk to, and we always like to talk to buyers and understand what they're looking for as well. And even though we don't represent them, but but so they want to be on our list when we go out on these campaigns to say they don't expect it to be private or exclusive for them. They want, and those guys who are really prepared well to buy a business. So, so we talk to them as well. And, a little test market might just get us to, okay, why didn't we'll just roll this out to 60 buyers right now that we know, or we've done some research on it, want to look at. And with the feedback we get from that, if it doesn't go forward, we can go back to the client and adjust.
Yeah.
I work on the things we need to do to get it to a yes. And also assess too, that maybe we were fishing in the wrong waters, so it's not perfect science. So,
it is interesting though. It is interesting because if you think about what you were talking about before, basically putting something in a classified ad or listing on a listing site whenever years ago, to what we have today, when we have the databases that are pay or public databases that allow us to find every private equity, every search fund buyer, every blah, blah, blah that has taken the time to list, and those listing sites. You would think that with the access to the information, it would make it much easier to sell a business. But do you really think that it's gotten any easier?
No, and I think part of that is, there's a lot more buyers out there than sellers. There's a lot more money to buy the capital that has been raised to put towards buying businesses. There aren't enough businesses that meet the criteria of those buyers.
Yeah.
For one,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of different reasons. And that's, of course, when you do your pre-market work, and we do that with our clients too, where we have to assess what that is, and that helps us know where we're going
and preparing the business. Yeah. Because you would think, based on the way these directories, the websites that are listing now, and we just the information exchange should be easier. So you should theoretically be able to get your business out farther, faster. It comes, like you said, it comes down to buyers are very particular about what they want. And when they have to spend millions of dollars, it adds, that means they're going to be particular about buying what they want, basically.
Sure. So, and if that doesn't change, where acquisition activity is, the higher the value of the business, the less transactions there are, and that just makes sense, right? Yeah. So, businesses business deals under 2 million in revenue at the lower level, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of activity there. And some of it's, just merely buying assets and, moving money around, because, there isn't a lot of value in some of those businesses. But there is a lot of them. So there's a significant amount of volume. And as you go up the food chain, as it were, the bigger the company deal gets, but, I was just talking, we were just at an M&A conference. A really good buying group, private equity group manager, I was talking to him, and he's been coming to our conference. This is where our brokers all hang out. And he's been a sponsor there, and he spent significant source development to try and find deals. But, and he's one of the bigger ones, the better ones, a good buying group. And they've been with our group for 15 years, and they've sourced 17 deals.
Yeah.
He thinks that's great. That's a lot of deals.
Yeah.
So, we're just not a lot of high volume.
There's just not a lot of businesses that meet the requirements for the buyers.
Right. Yeah. And in some cases, that's back to the sellers, again, preparing your material. Yeah. To have something, you can't just, it's not, you can't put lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
But if you want to get the money like that too, then in your business plan needs to be, you need to, talk to those buyers. They'll talk, they'll show you exactly what they want to buy. So then look at yourself and just say, how close am I to that?
Yes. Yeah. That is one of the things, that being turned down by a few buyers will give you what you need to know that you need to fix in your business if you are not successful in selling it.
Yeah.
And that will do that. Well,
they're all for it, because, their objective is they want to buy your business.
Yes.
But they want, so if you go back and get to work in your strategy, like you said, this is part of this. That's what's integral to Exit Your Way. It's just like, think about this ahead of time. But if you can get to here, then you can be that guy or that person that, sold their business at an 8X or 9X. And lived, happily ever after.
Yeah. Yeah. That's for sure. And learning that, preparing, and then the proper process and marketing and for the sale of that business to connect the right buyers to the opportunity is really key.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you,
that's one thing I just wanted to add to that too, is the buyers too are happy to pay more.
Yes.
Yeah. Happy to pay more. They don't want to be in the discount. Okay. I
love that.
I had a bumpy road here in the past. I lost my marketing, executive, whatever reasons. Okay, so I'll sell it to you for this instead. That's not how they operate. They don't discount for, the warts that, they have on it. They would much rather pay a higher multiple for a solid, management team that comes through, and all these other factors that involved. And, and I think we're doing a deal like that right now, where we're actually merging, several small companies together. Because individually they would, the buyers, they wouldn't even pay at all for them individually a la carte, but together, when they put them all together, they're happy to say, even though that would be cheaper,
Yes.
right? It would be cheaper for them just to buy up all the
Per
little
dollar
transparent
profit,
ones,
much less money.
but
Yes.
they would rather pay more than to have them all rolled up together and operating with a good operating management team, because that's what they're looking for.
Yep. That's a good point. It's a really good point to talk about too, is that buyers want to pay the money for it. They just don't want to pay bad money for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Pay money for anything bad. There we go.
Yeah.
I'm saying it right. And that's a key thing, because in marketing your business, you can't just say, well, if we had everything fixed, we'd be worth $10 million. But since we don't, we're going to sell it for $7 million.
Yeah.
That's a no. You won't get it sold that way.
Yeah. And, that's that, it's a zero sum. It just means your deal's probably not going to be done. But again, those kind of things, it's not like they have to be completely fixed. It's just that, that's about disclosure and about awareness. Everybody has these kind of things, if you can prove it's just a temporary thing, or, we know this happened, we're doing this, and this is our action plan, this is our projections from that going forward. Then you can still sell your business. So it's not,
Yep.
not the end
Well,
of it.
we all dealt with the COVID bump.
Exactly. It's a perfect example.
Crater, whatever happened.
Yeah, I mean, people. Yeah, exactly. I've got businesses right now that were pre-COVID did boom 20%, boom, had a really bad year, and then back up. Now they're trending. They've actually recovered, and now are trending up. Recovering and going past that. All that's forgotten.
Yeah.
These are called. As long as you present it that way, here it was, and those are called, one-time events, those kind of things, little disasters, and that doesn't, that's not going to kill your deal.
Yeah. And that's all part of putting the marketing materials together the right way, so that buyers understand that, and you've properly explained it. So. Yeah. But I just want to wrap up here, because this is great to be able to talk about, prepare your materials before you go out with a targeted approach to make sure that you get out there. You can, targeted approach, find your best buyers, fishing approach on some of the listing sites you can do. And then, before you do that, make sure your business and what you learn is getting incorporated, or you fix it ahead of time, because it's a zero-sum game.
Yeah. Listen to the buyer, get their feedback, go for the no.
Yeah.
And find out, but always find out why, just like you do in your business every day.
Yeah.
It's no different. You listen. If you don't listen to your customer, you're not going to have a business anyways.
Yep. Good stuff. Well, Andrew, thanks for stopping by today, sharing your thoughts on marketing a business for sale. I want to thank everyone else who is listening and continues to listen to what we talk about. And we will be back again later this week. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Andrew.
You bet.
Bye.